Okay, deck tech. Yeah, so we actually, I'm not sure how many of these videos are going to get published, or if they get published after this one comes out. But basically, after we 5-0'd, we actually started extensively experimenting with some other cards because I couldn't help but feel that Firebrain Scheme, we just kind of lucked out in a way, that the card overperformed, and it just felt like we were a little threat light. It just felt like maybe like Abbot of the Kyril Keep would have been better. So we did try Abbot for a while here. And Abbot did have its moments. I mean, it helped us double spell a few times with Cori-Steel Cutter. However, later in the game, though, one of the things I was noticing, like, when you're getting to, like, turn 3 plus, like, most of the time, they somehow always either comboed off if they were a combo deck, or they had some kind of removal spell for Abbot, and it kind of ended up being just like a 2-mana cantrip instead of a 1-mana one. Plus, it only dug 1 card deep, and we had to play the card the same turn as opposed to possibly the next turn. So, like, I mean, sure, sometimes it did stick and it did add to our damage count, but it was just weird in that it often felt like later in the game they always had some kind of answer to it, or they just brickwalled it with like a Shieldred or a Beza or something. Bottom line is, it definitely was not as impressive as I thought, but it wasn't bad either. I still think this is probably the second best card to Firebrain Scheme. Who knows? Maybe it is still better, but oddly enough, my testing did kind of suggest, it turns out maybe Firebrain was better. The other cards I tried out included not Ember Heart Challenger. Here we go. This card was actually kind of cool. It was kind of aggressive. Sometimes we exiled a few cards off the top by equipping Cori-Steel Cutter. But of course, realistically, if this card is just going unanswered for a while, it's probably a good sign we're going to win anyway. So in a way, that's kind of win more. The speed was nice. There may have been one game that it felt like maybe the extra speed caused us to win 1 turn earlier. But that's the biggest issue, is that although the haste is nice and all, it's just very rare that we win the game like at Exaxes, and if they were if they had 2 more life, because like every game you win with Emberheart Challenger that you don't win at taking them exactly to 0 the turn you attack or the turn you burn them out or whatever. Pretty much Abbot would have been the same thing. Just something to consider. I feel like I would have remembered if there was a game close enough that we Exaxied them with it. On the other hand, there were some situations when I tested this out where I just drew it late in the game and I wished it was an Abbot, because then it would have double spelled, at least potentially with Cori, or it would have just dug 1 card deeper into the deck, where I just really was trying to find my Cori-Steel Cutter or trying to find a burn spell to close out the game. So I'm just like, I wish this was Abbot. And it just did feel like the times that I wish this was Abbot kind of outweighed the times where I felt like, oh man, I'm really glad this was Emberheart Challenger rather than Abbot. So, I will say, one card though I did not try out, and I actually totally forgot about until recently, was our good pal Slickshot Showoff. It's possible this card is just better. I mean, flying, having evasion is just incredibly relevant. Plus, I can't help but feel that plotting. I mean, definitely we've seen it against us. When you plot it, you miss out on 1 damage the turn you play it. But on the other hand, it can dodge stuff like Grim Bauble, that 1 mana. When it comes into play, target creature gets -2/-2. In that blue-black bounce deck where they play like Boomerang Basics and all these ways to bounce that 1 mana. It's like a 1 mana Disfigure that gives -2/-2, but since it's a 1 mana permanent, they can keep bouncing it. Bottom line though is since it doesn't have flash, cards like that, we could potentially plot the Slickshot Showoff and then unload the next turn. Play it and then play a bunch of spells. Also, it could help with double spelling because, for example, we could plot it on turn 2, and this was actually one of the problems we've had with a Cori-Steel Cutter, is that we don't really want to play it turn 2 because we ideally want to guarantee getting a token at least, until before they can get rid of it. But at the same time, we don't really have a third land drop, so we can't risk just going too long without actually getting value out of it if we don't hit our third land drop. And that is actually something that Slickshot Showoff actually, in theory, could help with, because we could exile Slickshot, we could plot it, and then on turn 3, even if we don't draw our land, we Cori-Steel, Slickshot, bam, we get the token. But then on the other hand, we did kind of lose out on the benefit of plotting it, in the sense that we don't get to pump it or anything. But on the other hand, it could just be worth it just to get that token and get that guaranteed value. Even if they kill this, so what? We've still got prowess tokens coming out. I will say, at the very least, this card is probably better than Emberheart Challenger. You can't really do tricks with it, like a quick Cori-Steel to potentially gain card advantage, or use your own burn spells. With Emberheart Challenger, there were some situations where, I'm not sure if it ever came up. I think once in order to keep the prowess chain going, I think I burned my own Emberheart Challenger. Burned maybe like something like a research desk came off the top, bam, so double. And if you've got enough creatures in play, you get more damage off of casting multiple spells than you do from going face with something like Burst Lightning. So, there's some cool tricks you can do with Emberheart Challenger. But I still can't help but think that if we are going to go back with playing another 2-mana threat, probably Slickshot Showoff is the next card to test. And my guess is it's probably better than Emberheart Challenger. I think I'm comfortable in saying Abbott definitely better than Emberheart. Slickshot Showoff, probably better than Emberheart, but better than Abbott, I still kind of doubt it. But who knows, though? The evasion could be quite the difference. However, just back to the actual deck list, I think I can't help but feel that more and more, because I started playing Abbott, but I really couldn't. I basically could never get better than like a 3-2. I might have gotten 4-1 once, but I think I would remember that. Oddly enough, I did get 4-1 with the Emberheart Challenger when I was testing that out. But again, I don't necessarily give that much credit just to the fact that I got a better record, because once again, as long as you're paying attention, if you wished your Emberheart was an Abbott more often, and you won, for example, because your opponents got mana screwed, which I'm not saying it wasn't necessarily only because they got mana screwed. I was just I give myself enough credit that I think I'm paying attention enough to realize that really how you evaluate cards is simply you see how they play. You see how they play. It's not like whether you win or lose. It's not like that counts for nothing. But I just think that this so-called results-oriented approach of just hey, I played this card, I won, ergo it's good. That's kind of superstitious thinking. Actually, here's the funny thing. This so-called results-oriented thinking, in a way, to the extent it's not just do stuff that makes you win more, figure it out yourself. Which then it's what does it even mean, right? To the extent that it means, just focus on the results, don't try to do any analysis other than just did you win or did you lose. It's kind of funny how that's actually kind of like superstition, in the sense that literally like ancient farmers used to be hey, if I held my pea in all day and the then it rained well the next day, maybe it's it's like the gods peed on my harvest, it's like I gave them the gift of holding it by year. I don't know, people would step on a crack, break your mother's back, kind of superstition. People literally were like that, hey, every time I've held my pea in, it rained the next day. It's no, dude, that had nothing to do with it. It's just, I know it seems like it can't have just been a coincidence, but it totally was. It's it happened twice, right? Granted, that's a little unlikely, but try it 10. Oh, don't try it 10 more times. It's probably unhealthy, but it's if you do that enough, eventually you'll realize, oh, holy, actually one didn't have anything to do with the other. So to some extent, if you do have a huge enough sample size, bottom line is if you just look at the win or the loss, there's an element of superstition to that, because it's you could literally just stick in a 1 of snow basic, for example. It basically won't make a difference. But if you're hey, I always won as long as I had my lucky snow basic, you see what I'm saying? It's yeah. Anyway, I don't know if that makes sense or not. But anywho, bottom line though is as weird as it is, as weird as it is, I was just not quite having the same level of success as I was. And it's not only the success. It's not only that I was hard to go more than 3-2 when I was playing Abbott, and Abbott did seem like the best alternative to this. But it's also just that I started seeing the downside of Abbott, which is mostly just that I wasn't seeing Cori-Steel Cutter as much. Also, sometimes my creatures, they didn't get pumped enough. Like I just wished I had one more like non-creature spell to just, you know, keep the pump chain going, to just pump them a little bit more, push through a little more damage. You know, every once in a while also sometimes I would just exile like an Abbott off of an Experimental Synthesizer, and I'd be like, dang, if this was Firebrain Scheme, then not only would I not have just wasted a card, but who knows, you know, 2 cards deeper, you know, maybe I would have found that Cori-Steel Cutter I needed to really start taking over the game. And that, at the end of the day, I feel like this deck, it kind of just does live and die by Cori-Steel Cutter, and it's just you know, wild to think that at one point I just wasn't really convinced if Cori-Steel Cutter was actually as good as it was against us. And but once again, though, I do have to say, I do stand by my analysis. If we weren't as loaded up with cantrips as we are, I don't think Cori-Steel Cutter would be as good. Like this is, for example, this card just probably wouldn't work in a true burn deck. You know, unless you literally see it turn 2. Like if you see it at any later point in the game, and heck, even if you do see it turn 2, there's a good amount of times that you're going to maybe get 1 token out of it, and then it's just kind of a delayed Emberheart Challenger. That, granted, also, you know, it's an equipment, so, you know, if you were like in Modern or something, you could play it on Goblin Guide or something, you know, make Goblin Guide a 3/3. But let's be honest, we're not playing this card for that reason. So, yeah. But bottom line, you have to kind of build your deck around this card to really make it work. But man, oh man, when you do build your deck around it, this card does go nuts, obviously. So, yeah. And the cool thing though is that with cards like March of Reckless Joy, Research Desk, Synthesizer, I don't really feel though like I'm really building my deck around Cori-Steel Cutter. That's one of the reasons why I like this mono red deck, because I feel like Research Desk, Synthesizer, March, I feel like these are just great cards in their own right that we have played in the past that just happen to be cantrips that synergize super well with Cori-Steel Cutter. So that's one of the reasons why I like it. Now, granted, Firebrain Scheme is kind of this is sort of a card that we probably wouldn't play if we weren't a Cori-Steel Cutter deck, but since we are, yeah, this card is just deceptively powerful. While I do stand by me thinking that it's the worst of the Research Desk, Synthesizers, and yes, March of Reckless Joy, I do rate March of Reckless Joy higher. This card has really helped keep the gas flowing. It definitely doesn't help as much as Research Desk. Doesn't help as much as Synthesizer in a way. It might actually be a little bit better keeping the gas flowing than Synthesizer, but that Samurai token sometimes can be deceptively powerful. You know, like it's just fodder you can sacrifice to like a momentum breaker or something. So you know, or it's just a good chump blocker. Like, yeah, this Samurai token is deceptively good. I mean, you know, 2/2 Vigilance. There's not much pro red, but 2/2, you know, white Vigilance is no joke either. So that being said, you know, I mean, hey, these are really strong cards. Being the 4th worst, I mean, being the 4th best out of all these red cantrips is really not a slight against the card, because these other cards are so great. You probably do see this card a bit more in other decks, but I do like it. You're seeing more and more Experimental Synthesizer. I think people are starting to realize, you know, hey man, this card is legit. You see this card all over Pauper, by the way. But I mean, this card is fully modern power level, let alone Pioneer. So anyway, okay, boy, that was a while. But let's get to some of the actual changes, because bottom line, we're going to try Firebrain Scheme again, and let's pay attention, because I have a feeling that the games we lose, they're not going to be lost because of Firebrain Scheme, and the games we win, I think we're gonna see some games we wouldn't have won if not for Firebrain Scheme. So first difference that we're trying is just in really contemplating theory crafting. This is our first game, I think, where we're trying this. At least where we're trying this particular configuration. Yeah, just from theory crafting for the most part, I think Spikefield Hazard is going to be better than Shatter Skull Smashing. So hear me out. I know Shatter Skull Smashing, our original thinking was it's kind of a free roll because we can cast it as an extra spell. We can also play it as a as a land and untapped if we want to. And originally, we were thinking that the only reason Shadow Skull Smashing was playable at all was because it could come into play untapped. But the amount of times that we either played it tapped or it kind of felt like maybe we were taking too much damage from it makes me kind of wonder. Maybe Spikefield Hazard is, as far as the being a land goes, maybe it's not as worse as we think, because we did play Shadow Skull Smashing tapped quite a bit. But the main reason why I'm thinking Spikefield Hazard is better is just it sucks to lose to those Enduring Innocence. Those cards do see a lot of play, and not only is Spikefield Hazard a clean answer to Enduring Innocence. Let's show this to you all. I'm sure you all know, but Enduring Innocence. This is quite a doozy of a card here. They've got a lot of enduring. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Basically, this card, in the decks that play it, it just kind of goes nuts drawing too many cards. But Spikefield Hazard, though, man, not only is it a clean answer to this card, it's a clean answer for 1 mana. They have to spend 3 mana on this card, and we answer it for 1 mana. It lines up a little too well to pass up, if you know what I mean. And so there's that. But also just I'm just seeing a lot of decks play like 1 mana Dorks, and also I'm seeing a lot of decks play that Storm Chaser's Talent. Now, we all know that card. The 1 blue mana creates a 1/1 otter with prowess. Yeah, so a lot of mana dorks, a lot of 1/1 otter tokens, a lot of Enduring Innocences. Yeah, I just can't help but feel like there's enough targets at 1 mana that this is like when you're getting full value out of this card, it's literally like if you're getting mana flooded, this is just an extra full powered spell. Now it's not like every single creature they play is going to have 1 toughness, but when it does line up, it's just an extra spell. And when you do need a double spell, like Cori-Steel or whatever, it does cost 1 instead of 2, and that's really huge because there were some situations where it did just feel like Shadow Skull Smashing costing a minimum of 2. Plus, you can't even kit like a like a throwaway 1/1 token of any other type. So. Let's see. But I've got a feeling Spikefield Hazard is, and maybe always was, better as the utility land. I do think that out of our 20 lands, I do think 4 of them should be modal double face spells, because that goes a long way to helping us double spell with Cori-Steel Cutter. When we get mana flooded, just having some of those lands actually be able to be cast as spells, even if they're just a blank spell, like so often we were casting Shadow Skull Smashing just for 2 mana, just to be a do-nothing spell, just so we could trigger Prowess and Cori-Steel Cutter. And I just feel like, so we'll choose Spikefield. And then lastly, we used to be playing Play with Fire. So Play with Fire and Light Up the Night. So these cards are not exactly in the same class, so to speak, but I actually think I've got a strong suspicion that Light Up the Night is just better overall than Play with Fire. I mean, sometimes the scry to the face is nice, and don't get me wrong, Play with Fire, like the reasoning behind this card I think is still solid, and it's still possible this card might be better because if this card hits a creature, great. You're basically never trading. You're never trading up, or I should say trading down. You're at least paying 1 mana to deal with one of their creatures. Sometimes you can deal with a creature that costed more. So like basically, if you're hitting a creature with Play with Fire, you're always you're never dissatisfied with that, so to speak. You're never unsatisfied with that. But what's really nice about Play with Fire is that when you exile it with a Synthesizer or with Research Desk or something, you don't only get 2 damage to their face, which can sometimes feel a little negligible. You also get to scry. So even though it's only scry 1, I mean, just anytime you can send a bad card to the bottom, it's almost like drawing a card, and it's just really nice that you get that benefit when you don't necessarily have an otherwise good target for this. So this is definitely a solid burn spell. It's not as solid as Burst Lightning, because being able to kick this for 4 is too good. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, Yeah, when yeah. Plus, this also changes the dynamic of the game. When your opponent knows you've got Burst Lightning, they play in a way they wouldn't otherwise. It's very hard to tell this, but trust me, and trust anybody else who's played with Burst Lightning, and also trust all the times you've played against Burst Lightning and you've done this because it's correct. You do whatever you can to not go down to 4 life, and sometimes you end up racking up advantages that are hard to see from that. Anyway, yeah, I can't help but think that Burst Lightning is better. Although it is interesting, it's possible one day I might actually replace Burst Lightning with Play with Fire, but I do think Burst Lightning is most likely better. I'll tell you one card that's definitely better though for sure, Plasma Bolt. Very very underrated, surprising card because it's surprisingly easy to trigger Void, mostly because of Research Desk, but also just your creatures die a lot. You can also just just chump attack. And sometimes you're in a situation where if they let the creature go through, then they take lethal. Because if they even take 1 damage, then it would have been the same as Plasma Bolt dealing an extra 1. But yeah, you can chump attack, you can sack a Research Desk. It's surprisingly easy to get Void if you really need to. And when you do get Void, this is a Lightning Bolt at sorcery speed, granted. But hey, Pioneer, this is the only way I know of that you can actually get a true 1 mana for 3 damage creature or player or planeswalker. Yeah, this to my shock, Plasma Bolt actually turned out to be by far the best burn spell in this deck, and it's a card that maybe other like those is it Prowess deck, maybe they should start considering this since they don't play Mr. Research Factory. Maybe it's there's a very good chance this won't be as good. Probably needs Research Desk to really see its full potential, because then you can blast 3 mana creatures out of the way easier. It's not only like at 3 damage to go face, which is kind of what a chump attack would be. But yeah, but hear me out. So Light Up the Night. We've played this card before in mono red mid range, and I just can't help but feel I cannot help but feel that yeah, this is where we want to be as far as it does 2 things. We can deal with creatures theoretically of any size, like Shieldred, for example. It just bugs me a little bit that there's no burn spell in our deck that can actually one-shot a Shieldred. And don't get me wrong, paying 5 mana to deal with Shieldred is not ideal. But we're not we're not like White. We don't have Get Lost. We don't have any card that can just cheaply and efficiently answer Shieldred. The only more efficient cards we could have are something like Torch the Witness. Pay 4 to deal with Shieldred plus get a clue token. Obviously, that's better. But I think that this card being able to the other thing that this does is this can deal later in the game. Sometimes this can deal 8, 9, maybe even 10 damage. Like, it's crazy. Some games go very very long, and sometimes sometimes you get a bit flooded because you're churning through your deck. You keep drawing more and more lands. Sometimes the opponent just they end up creating a board state where you can't break through. And Light Up the Night can win you some games that literally no other card can, because this card, there's no other card in the deck that will potentially deal as much damage off the top. It's like your Bonfire of the Damned for that LSV comeback victory, or maybe it was Apollo. I can't remember which one. Whoever it was that ripped Bonfire of the Damned and basically dealt a ton of damage off the top the turn before they were going to lose. Pretty much. I mean, it won't wipe the board, but I think if I remember that correctly, the Bonfire ended up just winning from damage, not the board wipe. So, well, anyway, maybe that's enough. But it's mostly just that this card is just so efficient. Like, for only 1 extra mana, it will deal with any creature that Play with Fire would have. And then for extra mana after that, it scales. You can deal with stuff that other burn spells other than Plasma Bolt just couldn't. So, yeah, literally, at worst, it's a 2 mana shock instead of a 1 mana one. But at best, it just deals with stuff that other stuff wouldn't, and potentially deals with opponents that otherwise couldn't be dealt with. Yeah, we can never flashback it, but who cares? I remember, I think I tried playing a Chandra Planeswalker once. It just basically never came up anyway. I don't think this card... What makes this card good is just that it deals extra damage to a creature or Planeswalker. And that's fine. That's where we need it to deal extra damage the most. Yeah, and there's also so many of these 1-toughness creatures, like I said. The same reason why Spikefield Hazard is seeing particularly good right now. It just can't help but feel that Light Up the Night. This still lights up all the 1-toughness creatures, all the mana dorks, all the otter tokens all the 1 toughness creatures that are seeing play. It still mops them up for 1 mana, but it just also scales up in a way that other bird spells don't. All right. Okay. Wow. This was not expecting this deck tech to go this long. Yeah. Abrade. We already know deals with creatures, deals with artifacts. Screaming Nemesis already went over, and then Blast Zone, Lantern of the Lost split. So I'm beginning to think Lantern of the Lost is better than Unlicensed Hearse, because I just don't think I've ever actually activated Unlicensed Hearse to become a creature, like, even once. And I just feel like wiping the entire graveyard, there's just a lot of decks like Lumbra where I think, like, just taking all the cards out of their graveyard is just more likely to make a huge difference. Plus, if they deal with this, we can still draw a card while wiping their graveyard. And this card can also just be an extra cantrip if we really need it. It can help us double spell. It's kind of a worse, more clunky Mishra Shaitar's desk, but it can help us double spell. And anyway, so finally, I know it took us freaking all deck tech to get to Blast Zone, but it was just bugging me. It was just bugging me when I'd randomly lose games to cards like High Noon or even like Temporary Lockdown. Like, there's these cards that were just surprisingly effective, but they were enchantments, and I'm like, oh, if only there was some way I could deal with this enchantment. And I just remembered, I played Blast Zone in the freaking mono white deck. I played it in the mono red mid range deck. I think we can swing Blast Zone. It won't come online until later in the game, but I feel like it is a card that can potentially just unlock all those like cards that get exiled with like Temporary Lockdown. And there's also that other card, like Portable Hole and Seam Tear. Sometimes they just answer all our creatures with stuff like that, and a well-timed Blast Zone just bam gets all our creatures back. Plus the Is It Prowess deck. While it did kind of seem like we could hold our own without Blast Zone, I feel like Blast Zone actually might be kind of like the thing that gives us an edge more than anything else. I think we basically kind of turn into a control deck against Is It Prowess. Blast Zone is just a card that I think they don't really have an easy way to deal with. I think we can keep their Cori-Steel Cutters at bay with Abrade, and we dig through so much of our library. But sometimes them eternally bouncing their Storm Chaser's talent can become an issue, and Blast Zone just really goes a long way, and it wipes all their Storm Chaser's talent plus all their 1-mana prowess creatures off the battlefield. Yeah, it's just and sometimes Storm Chaser's talent, man, sometimes that just blasts all the way up to 6 mana, and just nice for Blast Zone to be able to deal with that, and pretty easily at that. So, yeah, plus you can put it to 2. You can deal with High Noon. Yeah, sometimes you might have to deal with your Cori-Steel Cutter too, but ideally you want to play it so that you play Cori-Steel Cutter the same turn you get a token out of it, and then if they do play High Noon, hey, maybe you do have to deal with your own Cori-Steel Cutter, but if you do, at least you got a token out of it, and then maybe you unlock the rest of them. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, just being able to deal with enchantments can also theoretically deal with large creatures that otherwise you couldn't deal with. But yeah, all right. Anyway, wow, that sure took a while. Let's get to the games. Like and subscribe. If these deck textures absolutely too long, just let me know. All right, I'll see you on the other side. Take care. Hey, I'm MHayashi. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. And I'm gonna implement something new going forward, but the gameplay starts at about the 30-minute mark. Yeah. So if you want to skip the deck tech and just get right to the gameplay, it's about the 29.5 to 30-minute mark or so that the gameplay starts. So all right. Ready. Yeah, Yeah, synthesizer, but for next turn. Should I push damage now? Kind of thinking yes. I'm going to play this into either one or two things is going to happen here. They're either going to normalize this, or worse, they're going to play temporary detainment. Or that. It's pretty much the same thing. Oh, why didn't I play that? Didn't even realize. So they should be at 11. Let's do this. Nice. Okay, hopefully we can attack with Bugbear. I do like my Cori-Steel, that's for sure. Since I already played Reckless. Let us let's do this. Guess I'll do that. Guess let's do this. See if they counter. Okay, they don't. Well, we have a 1-drop spell we can play. This does technically count as a 1-drop spell we can play. And I have to just attack. They want to double block Swiftspear, so be it. do this. Thanks for fighting the good fight. That's something good. Yeah, probably this is better in the long run. Well, this is probably getting countered, but let's try. Probably gonna halt the Storm Giants, get it flying, and then bam. Oh, okay. I probably should have gone for Light Up the Night. Yeah, what was I thinking? Like my only chance. Mm, definitely want to blast zone so we can deal with that stuff. I think that card's an artifact, so we can actually use Abrade. In this particular matchup, I think we can take out Spikefield. Definitely want Screaming Nemesis. I think in this matchup we can take out Plasma Bolt and light up the night. Yeah, bring in Screaming Nemesis because we want to keep in Burst Lightning so we can shock our own Nemesis. At least that's the idea. Let's see. Keep. Firebrain Scheme. So top 2. Man, I like my Blast Zone. We didn't have anything else to do this turn anyway. Try to crank out the Nemesis, the Nemesi. Crank out more Nemesi. Okay. Them not being able to gain life seems powerful. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, fine, I'll just flash it back. Too many removal spells. Got nothing else to do. Of course they do. Alright, well it just so happened that they countered that anyway, so. Please get through. Yes, okay. Take these. do this since we want to ideally make our land drop. And land drop we made. Let's see if we can continue getting through. We did last time. Okay. I got a feeling. Okay, good. Okay. There's the field run. Okay. Do this before we forever lose our ability to. Okay. Well, that was something. We have to run it back. Brimaz is a bit concerning, but I'm not sure what we're supposed to do. They had blocked. I think it would have been much harder for us. Probably have changed the equation. Come on. I think I need creatures. This has a creature. Alright. I have to turn that back. Raid a little too important when they have that artifact base temporary detainment, or temporary lockdown, excuse me. They should just call that card COVID-19. Temporary lockdown. Okay. All right, let's see about this one, maybe. Okay. I think we're going to wait on this. No, I don't think we can, because if they COVID-19 it... No, if they COVID-19 it, we're fine. Alright. We're going to mana leak this one. Okay. Alright, that officially got lost. And now I'm sensing a COVID-19. Which we can undo with Abrade. Yep. We're definitely... Let's do this now. Yeah. Actually, just for efficiency's sake, let's do this. Next turn we can start trying to blast that. Okay, they gain some life, but at least they don't gain their freedom. Okay. Let's see. I think I am happy to offer the trade. Okay. Do that. I think let's destroy this. And then let's finish off this one. Hopefully they don't have another COVID-19, but that was the correct play, I think. I was draw blast them if they do, but both. Okay, let's do this. No, it's like that's the worst possible. I'm not attacking into, what's it called? It just sucks so badly to lose a Cori-Steel. Yeah, I was worried about a, wandering up her. Yeah, at least no life gain. Okay, let's see here. Let's do this. Kind of like Bugbear. That's got to be that. And I think we'll just slightly hedge against some kind of another COVID-19. Okay. Exile top 2. Well, hopefully this sticks, because I think this is clearly the better card. However, maybe we play that next turn. Play around, you know what. Let's see if they counter. Nice. Put this on too, why not? Okay, well at least hopefully my Cori lands. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Okay. Okay, well, good thing I got the Blast Zone. Firebrain, the scheme. Let's start scheming. Well, it's got to be a braid, right? Artifact. That. I mean, obviously I got another one, but still can't okay, pass up that opportunity. Okay. If they make a 1/1 token, I blast. Should I blast anyway? Nah. I need to hit the pinnacle. Okay. This. Okay. Kind of forgot about that. Well, let's see. Maybe we do this. Maybe we do this. Maybe we... Not so sure about a braid. Let's do this while they're tapped out. Well, first things first. Let's do this. I like it. Discard. Hopefully this gets through. Well, if this actually gets through, then I think we'll take it. But you know, I'm sure they got a Wandering Emperor or get lost. Or both. Huh, didn't they just have a victory there? 3-3, 3-3, yeah. Maybe I should have done this first. Okie did kind of like that last, I kind of like the hand last game. Let's plasma that. Okay. Scheme. We are a little mana screwed. Like that. Okay, Battle of the Cori-Steel. Okay. Let's do this. Yeah. Let's do this. Do we have lethal? I think we do. 5/5, 4. Yeah, we have lethal. Don't mind if I do. Okay, not bad. Okay, Palette Cleanser from last game. Although last game was pretty competitive. I can live with losses like that. Definitely want this to break the Cori mirror. Well, Blast Zone, probably better than Spikefield. All things considered. Probably better than Spikefield. And I think Soul-Scar is pretty meh in this matchup. Because it gets Academy whatever. It helped us get a turn whatever that was last game, but we'll slow down just a little bit. Just if that gets academic probation or whatever it's called, academic disputed, forced to block, then it's just alrighty. Well, we got Cori-Steel, so unfortunately can't hit that yet. Might as well do this because I got nothing else to do. Firebrained it up. Hopefully we hit. Okay, bam. Well, I can't pass Cori-Steel up. Do this. Actually, I should have hit the Otter, was I thinking? Nah, it's about the same. We don't win the game going back to block, which isn't even going to be an even trade anyway. Well, given this particular counterfactual, I think we do hold back. Just because this is a very juicy blast zone. I could Abrade that. But I think I'd rather just... So I might actually just tank it. Well, first we're going to do this, because we definitely know we're going to do this. Now the question is, Bug or Otter? Bug. Okay, I think we can win this this battle, so we will Abrade the Otter. I know Abrading the Otter seems really overkill, but yeah, might as well get in there. Can't blame him. Let's do this, because why not? Then go hit a land. Okay. Yeah, let's bring him down to 4. Hedge a little bit. Yep. Okay, let's go. I'll risk it and keep. Hey, is this one? Come on. Ah, let's open it, Grim. Come on, land. Okay. Spikefield Hazard, yeah, let's do that. Okay. That's Cori. And let's research. Because it's better to lead on research because what they play might inform what we want to get with Firebrand Scheme. Plus, we probably want to play Experimental Synthesizer next turn. Okay, that's fine. There's more where that came from. Let's go. Probably end of turn, crack the desk. Okay. Yeah, I gotta imagine Swiftspear is where it's at. Pretty good. Firebrand Scheme. Then we'll try to push maximum damage. Maybe Cori, but we can wait until next turn to Cori. Yeah, let's wait until next turn to Cori. No, what am I kidding? We might not have double spell next turn if we wait to Cori. Let's just do this. Okay, can they kill us? That's not what I wanted to see. We definitely wanted to see this one, I'll tell you that much. Pretty sure this is lethal. They can gain life, but only 3 life. Okay. Gotta love it. Haven't seen them play Virulent Plague yet. Blast Zone could be important, though, for dealing with blinking Storm Chasers. I do like Spikefield, but I have to imagine Blast Zone is better. And that's a tough call. It's a close one, because Spikefield does hit, and it does bump prowess, and counts as a spell for Cori, but... But if they have Virulent Plague, though, we need an out. Probably take out Light Up the Night for Screaming. Actually, now that I think about it, I'll probably take out Burst Lightning for Spikefield. Most of the time, it's going to be a 1 mana difference. I don't know. Taking out burn spells is always iffy. Especially powerful ones like that. But let's go. Alright, I mean, this hand does stuff. Okay. I'd probably have a null or something, but I can't risk it. I mean, I can't. One of these days, they're going to not have a null. Alright, well, at least if I can get a good 3 damage in, maybe I will also... Maybe I'll also Plasma Bolt it. I think I will. Okay. Let's do this. Do this. Do this. And do this. I might not want to crack because it depends what I draw. I'll do it though. Yeah, the Screamer. Obviously, what's it called? Urion can deal with both of these, but I'll get in for 4 if they let me. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, I'd cash in on Urion at some point if I were them. Let's do this now. Let's do this now because they can momentum break. It's kind of like endless, endless durdles and like no actual. Oh, I should play more burn spells. I do like shutting them off. Life gain if I can. I won't always have that opportunity, but now for Red or Forest, I think I just gotta run it back. Having Cori-Steel in my hand doesn't automatically amount to much. Yeah, now if we rip it next turn, I think we're in good shape. We did not rip it. I'll take it though. It's a good consolation prize. Yeah, we all know they've got Fatal Push. Let's do this. Yeah, it's a little bit too much Dirtle, not enough actual spell. Okay. Alright, we'll take this one. Hopefully they can't annul it again. Good. Yeah, I might as well. I'll march X equals 1 if they block. Not sure if I made a token that turn or not. Pretty sure I did. Yeah, because Okay, that's fine. It's a pretty tame one. Let's think here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Well, that's a little bit of a Debbie Downer. Should I push damage? I don't know. Let's just do this before we decide. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. Firebrained it up. Yeah, I'm gonna keep firebranding. I'm gonna keep firebranding until it goes out of style. I'm gonna keep firebranding. Alright, and I'm gonna plasma bolt. Might as well hit that. Okay, I'll take it. That was a crazy chain. Okay. Well, yeah, beggars can't be choosers. I wish there was an easy way to look up. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna look up Firebrain Scheme on Gatherer. I'm pretty sure it's got to have the Spider-Man version right there, right? Right? I hope. Otherwise, like, you know, I want to see what the Spider-Man version of this card is. Is it Dr. Octopus's scheme or something? See, secretly, it actually works to our benefit as players that they had to do Omen Pass because it's easy to reprint. I love my Firebrain scheme. Okay, keep. Gran. Alright, well, Gran is actually low-key a lot scarier than it looks. Mostly because of this non-creatures cost one less. It's terrifying. They might hit my Spikefield. Okay. Let's do this. Man, I really want Cori-Steel, but frickin' if I don't draw land. Okay, Roach joins up. Maybe this one. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this, just get this out of our hand. Let's do this. Do this. That's fine, I'll let the Burst Lightning go. Okay. Yeah, we'll Soul-Scar it. Soul-Scar it up. Do this first. We gotta get Soul-Scar this turn. Okay. We know this is some kind of combo deck. Rhoda. Okay. So yeah, I shouldn't have done that. You know, they could always just play that out. Because it's a 0/0, it'll just die if it doesn't have. Okay, let's scheme. Let's start scheming. And your next turn. I really wanted a Plasma Bolt, but maybe it is what it is. So, out of the sideboard, we've got Graveyard Hate, and we've got Blast Zone for the Tiny Bones. But also, that was just such a funky game where somehow we just... yeah, it's amazing. Like, one Fatal Push really went a long way for them, but okay. +7 plus Lantern, plus we also want Abrade. And I like Firebrain, but maybe it's the most cuttable here. I also think Burst Lightning is the most cuttable because it can't hit Rona. I guess in a way, Light Up the Night is the least efficient way to hit Rona, but it still does hit Rona. I wonder how bad we need Spikefield Hazard. Good for hitting land drops. But it also doesn't hit Grand Grand. Yeah, let's hopefully we don't get punished for this, but let's go. I think this may count as getting punished, but well, it's not clear until we draw our next card. Keep in mind, actually, maybe this isn't a punish because it's not like we have Light Up the Night. Light Up the Night was the card we were considering cutting. That's not in our hand, so. So win or lose, pretty much this hand was what it was, either way. Well, we got 2 Cories. Enjoy. We can take the Lantern. Okay. He rolled to 5. Maybe they're going to be kind of screwed too. Unlikely. Now that's where we officially get screwed here. Wow. See if they block. Yeah. Well, I guess that would have been Spikefield. So it's not like we could have done anything that turn anyway. If we draw a card next turn, maybe it ends up being the same or better. If we don't draw land next turn, then we really know we were punished. But it's 20 lands, same as before. Grand. Okay. Oh, okay. Maybe we don't get punished. Question: do we just go for after Rona? Yeah, let's not be greedy. Let's just go after Rona. Go after the stuff we can while we can. Okay, well, they still need a Tiny Bones, and they still need what the Lively Dirge, whatever it's called. Okay. Let's try to be able to Cori Plasma. Okay. Mm. I'll light up the night. Yeah, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to discard Cori-Steel because I just really don't want them to keep Granning. Or they're going to keep Granning, I guess. Not quite lethal yet, but every little bit counts. Okay. Well, we managed to somehow pull it off. Well, I think because of the March of Reckless, we can keep. These hands are risky. Gran. Alright, I think we have to bolt though. Because Gran's pretty terrifying. Almost as terrifying as Rona. Tiny Bones joins up. Can discard a. Light up the night. Let's get this here. Hopefully they don't spell pierce me. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Okay, good. And hopefully we can start the pressure. Okay. Let's light up the night, shall we? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, well. Double colorless, screw me up. That sucks. Yeah, okay. Well, if we draw a land, we still have something. Okay, we don't draw a land. I guess one of the morals of the story is maybe we have to be a little more Notice that got paired. Let's go. Okay. You know, and for last game, my thinking was I was playing 20. Actually, I was playing more lands technically, 21 lands instead of 22. But I kind of forgot actually. Blast Zone is more mana hungry than normal. You need at least 4 lands to use Blast Zone, whereas this deck is mostly fully functional off of 3. Okay. Uh, yeah, let's just do this. Okay, maybe we want a Spikefield. Oh, Grand, that's only one. Um, yeah, let's do this. Oh, crap. Alright, well, we'll do this. That was like one of the worst possible reveals, though. Hopefully we got a red card to pitch next turn. I guess a land is the same thing. We'll just march for 1. I wonder why they're using Grand as opposed to, unless this is not the deck I think it is. It probably is it Lessons, actually. Okay. Well, actually, what we will do is we will Burst Lightning the Grand. And if they don't Spell Pierce it. Okay. Let's do this. The chances of us drawing a land are pretty high. Okay, well, next turn we can get to work. Now they can Ancestral for 2, though. If I draw lands, I can get full value at a grand. Yeah, I mean, this is GG anyway, so might as well. Let's go. The lesson deck. I guess Lantern No Loss can help prevent them from getting Ancestral. That counts for something. I'm not so sure we need much of anything else. Lantern is very close to Firebrain's scheme anyway. I did not see white. I don't think there's any card in red or blue that is permanent base that shuts her down. Honestly, I wouldn't have even thought there was in black if I didn't see Virulent. Anyway. Go. I should the yawn. Well, we got dig, so. Gotta play these things out. Forever hold her peace. The bugbears, I mean. Play this. Play this. Maybe we should have actually held up in case of firebending lesson or something. Well. Okay. Accumulate wisdom. Maybe let's do this. Let's see what we got here. We could march. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Okay. Well, we get to burst lightning. can light up the night. I guess next turn. Need this to keep the daisy chain going. Gran. So I'm actually going to do this just because I think I want to hit both outer tokens if possible. So I don't have some kind of way to pump it. Okay. I just realized I need Blast Zone to deal with Storm Chaser's talent. Yeah, the problem is I don't really have much of a plan actually for when they put this on 6. Well, I mean, I guess my plan was win before that, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Guess we'll do this, because why not? We will light up the night. I could Soul-Scar, but let's light up the night. Frickin' null. Okay. Let's joy. Light up the night on that thing, at least for now. Could return an ult to their hand. Okay. Let's do this. Well, since we're officially Mega Mana flooded, might as well try to get in there. Some land. Alright, I think they're close to lethal, just one more. Okay. Definitely we went Blast Zone. This time I think we'll learn from our lesson and we'll take out Light Up the Night. Yeah. The Spikefield Hazard can be thought of more as a pure spell instead of a land this game. Other than that, seems reasonable. I mean, over half our deck didn't see a single Cori-Steel Cutter, so either do. Okay. Advantage to having extra lands. More likely to... Let's see, should we play this now? Yeah, let's play this now so we can play around in all. They gotta know, but I'm not gonna play around it. One man artifact hate. Good thing Meltdown isn't Pioneer legal, I don't think. Let's see here. Let's play that. I think we will. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Do that. Do that. Accumulate wisdom. Okay, fair enough. Gotta play the Bugbear or the Synth. I like Bugbear. I like Burst Lightning, but let's do this instead. Yeah, next turn. And I do like Soul-Scar, but I don't want them to return at all. But maybe that's fine. Definitely Cori. That could be next turn. Alright, I mean, that gives us a good turn next turn. They can return a null, fine. I'll just use this as a glorified. We just even do this. Yeah, let's do this. I'm going to play into Pyroclasm. Okay, Storm Chasers. Alright, let's do this first. Well, actually, I can't do that first. But I think we just win here, because bam. Alright, we like it. Okay. Hey, not the best league, but not the worst league either. Kaboom. Okay, so my thoughts are that I think that Tiny Bones matchup, I think we definitely could have won, and I think even those games, if we had played more Blast Zones, if we had replaced the light up the stages, light up the nights with Blast Zones instead of the Spikefield Hazards, we would have had enough mana to crack the Blast Zone in response to the Tiny Bones, or just wipe the Tiny Bones in at a turn, keep them off the combo until they draw another one, but that frees us up to play stuff, so we don't have to constantly keep 4 mana up, which is a lot. Hopefully at some point we see a Lantern, which breaks up the graveyard. I do think, for better or for worse, we need to do the 4 Blast Zone, 3 Lantern split. Just because cards like High Noon are such a pain in the you-know-what. Other than that, what was the other loss? Oh yeah, the blue-white control. Actually, one of my biggest concerns about Fire Rain Scheme, as opposed to like more creatures like Emberheart Challenger or Abbott, or even like Slickshot Showoff or something, was just that I was just a little worried that the control deck would be more problematic, because dirtling a lot against the control deck can be a problem. You got to stick a threat, you got to get pressure on. But still, I really like the way this card performed even there, because on the other hand, once you establish your threats, nothing like a good old cantrip should really help your prowess creatures get maximum damage plus. Excuse me. Plus, Cori-Steel Cutter really helps with that too, and it also helps find Cori-Steel Cutter. Looking one card deeper really does actually power through the deck that much faster. It doesn't draw you one more card, but having one more card to select from, it's yeah. And we saw what that did against the blue-black balanced blink, whatever you want to call it, deck. Yeah, we just chained these together to Kingdom Come. Honestly, I don't know that there's any card that we want to change. Screaming Nemesis was a little less impressive this league than it was in previous ones, but I still think kind of, what this does is it does a couple things. It mainly it can be good at stopping life gain, although it has to either stick around a turn, or we have to wait until turn 4 so we can Spikefield or Burst Lightning it or something. And that's one thing I also like about Spikefield as opposed to Shatterskull Smashing, is that this is another card that granted we have to have a lot of mana, but if we've got the mana to pull it off, 4 mana plus Spikefield, so this would have been the 5th mana, but we can use it to basically ping our Screaming Nemesis at instant speed in response to like say removal spell, so we can't gain life for the rest of the game. That's something that Shadow Skull Smashing just can't do. It could be like what's a card called we could play something like Skullcrack, but I just I'm a little bit worried, believe it or not, still that somebody someday might side in Leyline of Sanctity. We've definitely been playing less like a burn deck than when we first put the deck together, which was trying to make Pioneer Burn. I just don't think Pioneer Burn is there yet, but and ironically, one of the strongest pure burn spells in Pioneer is actually a card that doesn't even target Bolt Wave. So it's probably unlikely that they'll bring Leyline of Sanctity, but I just like the way Screaming Nemesis. It's just a solid threat. Helps round out, my threat suite. Prevents it stops life gain loss. I mean, it stops life gain. Yeah, it is always possible. Skullcrack is better. The only problem is Skullcrack can't win the game by itself. Screaming Nemesis can. So there's that. Could potentially be Roiling Vortex, because that's 2 mana, so it plays a little bit. Yeah, here's what I'm thinking of: Roiling Vortex. Yeah, so this is what I've got in mind. This is the only thing maybe we changed to the Screaming Nemesis. When Screaming Nemesis sticks, though, it's really good. And we did win that one game against that 3/4 Leonin creature, in part because they blocked and they took 4. It would take 4 turns of Roiling Vortex, plus it deals 4 damage to us too, to deal the same amount. On the other hand, it's 2 mana, so it's cheaper to the curve. Helps more effective at double spelling with Cori-Steel Cutter, because you have to pay 2 mana rather than 3. Obvious. Also on curve to stop a Beza, whereas Screaming Nemesis can't really stop a Beza from gaining life. On the other hand, they can remove it. Once Screaming Nemesis gets pinged, there's nothing they can do about it. Roiling Vortex, they can always March of Otherworldly Light or something. But one of the main problems is actually Roiling Vortex just getting swept up in one of those temporary lockdowns, or whatever that artifact is called, aka the COVID-19s. So yeah, I think probably Screaming Nemesis, but this is definitely a card to consider, just because triggers prowess, easier to double spell, stops life gain on curve. It is kind of a quasi reach of sorts, so yeah, definitely a card worth considering. Yeah, also one thing. Also, now that I think about it, Roiling Vortex actually could be good. I mean, that blue-black deck we did win, but as we saw, they did beat us in one of those 3 games, and yeah, because sometimes if they go really ham with the removal, then it can be a little. Sometimes they can even kind of keep up with us sometimes with the cranking out the Cori-Steel tokens, just with the sheer amount of removal they play. So. Roiling Vortex, what basically that does is helps diversify our so we're not all in on creatures. We've got this thing pinging them for the rest of the game. On the other hand, that deck can be kind of a race too, because they can attack with Urion and with that Nightmare card or whatever it's called. So maybe Roiling Vortex ain't where it's at. Still worth a thought. We'll keep this in the back of our mind. I do think that's better than Skullcrack though, because we want something that can both trigger prowess and trigger and be the double spell trigger for Cori, while also gaining the life gain effect. And Skullcrack just doesn't play with that, because we've got to keep holding it up. So it doesn't trigger prowess on our turn most of the time. Most of the time they'll be gaining life on their turn. Doesn't trigger Cori-Steel Cutter if we hold it up. So yeah, Skullcrack is definitely not the ideal anti-life gain tech in this deck. So all right. Yeah. And I do think Blast Zone kind of did exactly what we were hoping it would do. Let's yeah. All right. And shout out to the patrons, and definitely welcome new patron Jacopo Bortone. Thank you so much for joining. If you haven't heard me shout you out yet, it's just because my previous post leagues were recorded before you had joined. But thanks a lot. Always appreciate the support. Likewise to regular patrons: Costin, Evanlina, Toby Kramer, Alex Korthauer, Big Mamu, Adrian King, Oren Lopez, Michael Patton. Yep, thanks everybody.